Welcome to the Sacred Chronicles, where I like to take some of my past experiences and discuss them, discuss the lessons learned, and maybe they can help you. Today, we're talking about how I started playing solo. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sacred, and this is the Sacred Art of Gaming, where we enjoy talking about tabletop gaming with an emphasis on solo play. And today we're talking about how it all started for me. And this could maybe be useful for anyone who is also trying to start out and doesn't really know where to start, or maybe they're having struggles and maybe that feels weird that they're struggling and they feel like they shouldn't be struggling, but I think that is part of the process, to be perfectly honest. So I'm actually, in the grand scheme of things, I'm fairly new to, like, if you've followed any of these like Sacred Chronicles, I'm not someone who's been gaming for like 30 years. It's fairly new to me. I'm probably coming up on a decade, actually, which is kind of crazy now that I think about it. In probably like another year, I think. Yeah, another year or two. I don't know. It's more than 5, less than 10. And solo didn't actually, I never even considered it until COVID, much like probably many other people. Now, like a lot of people, my gaming group, we weren't really able to meet, and that had me kind of looking to scratch that itch in some different ways. And I don't even know like how the idea entered my brain. I think the way I started initially was just kind of like, how can I like just go through a scenario just to feel the dice do the clackety clack. I think that's kind of roughly how it started, and then I just wanted more over time. So I ended up stumbling across I was really into Savage Worlds at the time. I stumbled across a solo Savage Worlds supplement on the Swag Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild. And I even made a video about it. That was forever ago. And I dabbled in it a little bit. Savage Worlds, I don't know, I think needs a little more consideration for solo, personally. It's a work in progress for me. I think for the next solo play that I do, hopefully I'll nail it down. But yeah, I just still wasn't quite getting there. And then that's where I started to go down the rabbit hole of, I started with that, and before you knew it, I realized it wasn't that crazy of an idea. Other people were doing it, and not only were they doing it, but there was a book that someone sold physically, not just digitally. I don't know why. Swag just felt like a small, very niche community to me at the time, and it was like fairly new because Suede wasn't even that new, or it was brand new, I should say. So yeah, I'm looking at the second edition. And I think first I had it digitally, and then I ended up committing to it physically, and I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like the chaos factor, what is this art? I was coming off of books like Savage Worlds, D&D 5th edition, and Mutants and Masterminds, so something like this, that is a little more, it obviously doesn't have the same level of production that those books have. So that kind of threw me off, and then also the whole chaos factor thing. I was like, oh my goodness, this is too many things for me to keep track of. And I did play with this for a bit, between some Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild products and this, and it just didn't quite hit for me fully. And then for whatever reason, I used, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I'm stuttering. I started using 5th edition, which I'm sure you've seen this book. Oh, there's a bookmark in here under Fighter. It's been a while since I've opened this thing. So yeah, I tried using it with this, and it was just really, really cumbersome. I would like to go back to it at some point just to say that I can do it. I know I can do it. I was not equipped to deal with the beast that is D&D 5th edition at that time. And then after all of that, I finally started to get some momentum. And I got momentum with something that I don't have physically, but anyone has access to digitally, and it is not what you're thinking, basic fantasy. Basic fantasy is like a OSR, OSC, or Old School Essentials is its own thing. It's an old school style game that's based off of like basic D&D, which was kind of a new concept to me. The OSR thing was all new to me, and then using something like Mythic with that, then things started rolling for me and things were starting to click now that I was able to use simpler mechanics, so this way I'm not drowning in mechanics and I'm able to actually be both the GM and the player and move this thing forward so that I can actually like start to figure it out. It was just too, I think the takeaway from that is that when there's just too much, like way too much to keep track of, there's two ways of looking at this. A system that you're familiar with, you know the rules very well, but also like maybe a system that you do know well, but there's a lot of fiddly bits. I think dumbing it down, because there is a lot on your brain in those moments between the oracle rolls and then trying to figure out what it means, and then combat, and then keeping track of everything, and did I mess something up? It's just too much. So I highly recommend dumbing that down as much as possible and just getting the reps in, because that helps. Now at this point, I hear about Ironsworn, which is also free digitally. I did eventually get it physically, but yeah, I heard about it digitally, and I tried it, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I finally thought I figured out how to play solo, and now this just changed everything. I really could not wrap my head around Ironsworn. It was just too foreign for me at that time. So I tried, I had a little campaign, sort of, and it just fizzled out. Then, in walks Index Card RPG. At this point, I'm starting to explore other systems. I was really just tied to like Savage Worlds and D&D, but Basic Fantasy, which was free, Ironsworn, also free, Index Card RPG, not free. But something about it just spoke to me. So I tried using Index Card RPG, and this took everything that I learned from Basic Fantasy and just brought it up to another level for me, because I don't know, I was just really pulled in to everything that Index Card RPG has to offer, and also made things even simpler in a lot of ways than what Basic Fantasy did. Now that I'm gaining that momentum, I did eventually come back to Ironsworn, and I'm a little fuzzy on the exact details on which thing came first, but I know I did eventually get Shadow of the Demon Lord, Morkborg, I think Morkborg was first, and Ironsworn. Ironsworn, I was able to get it going using online tools. I think it was Ironsworn Companion. I know there were two big ones, Ironsworn Companion and Iron Smith or something like that. The one that is less popular is the one that I ended up enjoying more. And I had a blast. It really started to click for me, and I started to realize the brilliance in Ironsworn between like the progress bars, between those progress bars, and then also the 2d10s and the d6 and that action roll and the challenge dice. Those two things, I think I always knew the challenge die was brilliant, but I was really struggling with the progress bar being applied to things like enemies and quests. It makes perfect sense, but enemies at the time, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this isn't HP or wounds. What are you talking about? It's just another way to resolve, I would even argue, probably a better, more thematic way to resolve a fight in most instances. It can just be a little exhausting if you're getting into a lot of fights, and then let's break out the progress bar mechanic. I don't know why it feels tiresome, but it does. It feels like feels like it's breaking you out. Yeah, it eventually clicked for me. Morkborg also, which the SRD is free for this, which I don't think I knew that at the time, like the basic text file. This is really just if you were to take those rules and then just slap a bunch of crazy art and stuff all over it, that's what this book is. But I mean, even if I hated this system, this book is beautiful. So yeah, that. And then I think where I got really, really, really excited, surprisingly, was Shadow of the Demon Lord. Because Shadow of the Demon Lord is actually kind of crunchy. It's like close to 5th edition. I think it actually might be like a step or two below 5th edition in terms of crunch. But even that, like it's kind of close. There's a lot of things that feel like 5th edition, which makes sense because Robert Schwab, I believe he made this book based off of the things he wanted to do with D&D, and he wasn't able to for whatever reason. They wanted to go in a different direction because he was working on the books. He left, did his own thing. Shadow of the Demon Lord excited me in the character advancement and stuff. And I think where things really got cooking for me, I don't have it physically, but there's a book called the Forbidden Rules, I think. I think it has a unicorn on it, or like Fae or something on it. Using the book, the main book, with those alternate rules really got things going. And I was actually fine even just with the normal book, but once I was able to use those and realize like, hey, there are smoother ways to play solo. Like if all of the roles are player facing, for example, that makes things a lot easier. And actually, even before this, I would be remiss if I did not mention Cairn and Knave, the first editions at those times, and Maze Rats. I think, yeah, those, in World of Dungeons. Those were like some smaller, but honestly, like those games are punching way above their weight class in terms of they're only like a few pages, but man, you can do a lot with those games. So yeah, it was really just a matter of trying things out and slowly building up skills, like figuring out, like grabbing different things, even from something like Ironsworn and Morkborg, which Morkborg is a very different game from Ironsworn. But there are lessons to be learned from Ironsworn and Starforge that you can apply to other games. And yeah, as you continue to get an idea as to what your special sauce for... I don't like the way that sounds. When you get an idea as to like what your solo play ideally feels like based on things that you like from different systems and settings, it can really just kind of come together and you can make your own like Franken solo play to some degree. You don't even have to commit to one like the whole time. Like I can play Shadow of the Demon Lord, and if I wanted, I could implement like a progress bar situation into a combat that I just want to resolve that way. And I wouldn't have known that if I'd never explored. Those are definitely big, and then also a big part of what got me really getting some good momentum was it was hard for me to find like solo plays that really, or solo play advice that really helped me. I feel like all that I could really find was Geek Gamers for a while, and I think that Geek Gamers was, at the time, from my understanding, it just did not resonate with me for the most part. It was cool to see that it could be done and that people were able to do it and there was enough popularity that people were interested in, but it didn't, I don't know, I couldn't get it. I just could not get it. In walks Trevor Duvall, and he starts Me, Myself, and Die. His style is very different from Geek Gamers, and somehow him being very over the top, and I mean he's a voice actor, so, and the cinematic and all of that, it really pulled me in and made me think like, wow, solo play doesn't just have to be, which for me at the time was like a dungeon crawl. Yeah, I mean, it was mainly dungeon crawls, if I'm being honest. Dungeon crawls, and that's like kind of it. I'm trying to think of what else it was. It was mainly dungeon crawls. So yeah, seeing him weave things together in a way that like spoke to me, that's kind of like the benefit of that kind of thing, when someone's able to bring things up to an entertaining level, even though some people are like, oh, that's not really how it's played, and that makes people view it in the wrong way, but they viewed it. And I don't know that people would have viewed it at all without that type of microscope on it. So yeah, that was my journey. And then I think where things really, like, all of that was good. All of that was good, all of that was great. But when I got the Dragonbane core set that came with the solo play rules, it kind of made me feel like I need to drop everything that I'm doing and I'm solo playing this fucking game. That is... So that wasn't a feeling that I had previously. Previously, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'll mess around, and I'll play around, and I'll see what happens. With this, it was like, no. This character, we need to figure out where this character is going, and we're gonna finish this whole thing. We're gonna finish this story, and we're gonna build out from there. Since that point, which was honestly only like a year ago, now that I think about it, probably like a year and a half. I think I started the videos around a year ago, which meant there was a little bit of build up to make me want to, because I did the solo play before I started recording. But anyways, you get the point. Fairly recent, and I have been loving solo play ever since. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about these juggernauts that kind of helped get me there, between like Mythic giving me that initial curiosity, Ironsworn showing me a different way, Index Card RPG, and Basic Fantasy showing me that it doesn't have to be complicated, and games like Shadow of the Demon Lord showing me that once you've got it, it's okay to throw in some cool, exciting stuff in there. And then once you've got all that, then yeah, let's really break things open with some fun and interesting ways, like the waypoint system and just all of the tables all in one place. It didn't feel overwhelming. It was like, because I know I made a previous video about this, but it's like 10 pages or something. Everything was right there. It did not feel like a chore. And I think that's where solo play really thrives. Sometimes when it feels like a chore, you don't want to do it. And the juice was absolutely worth the squeeze. So let me know down below, what was your solo play journey? Has your solo play journey begun yet? I want to hear about it down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, and I will see you in the next one as we continue to explore the sacred art of gaming together.